So let's talk about how we can do unit conversions, how we can convert from one unit to another. So to do this, we can use conversion factors. And conversion factors show a relationship between two units, which allows us to convert between those two units. So a conversion factor is a fraction that is equal to 1, and it represents the relationship between the two units. And it takes on this general format where you've got a fraction, and on the top of the fraction, you have a number that is linked to the unit you want, so the unit the question is asking for. And then on the bottom, you put the unit you have, so the one given in the question that you're trying to get rid of. And so the numbers that you put in front of the units make the two values equal, which is what makes the fraction actually equal to 1. So here's an example, converting between meters and kilometers. So we know that 1 kilometer is the same as 1,000 meters. And we can make two conversion factors with this information. We can put 1,000 meters on top and 1 kilometer on the bottom, or we can flip that. And which one we use depends on what the question is asking. So as a little side note here, these are the metric conversions. And there's some of these that you really should start to get familiar with. So kilo is 1,000, right? So kilometer is 1,000 meters, kilogram is 1,000 grams. So that's one you should be familiar with. And then the other ones that are important, particularly for this course, is milli. So this is 1/1000th of whatever the base unit is. So what that means is that for meters, for example, there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Micro, which has a symbol of a Greek letter mu, there are 1,000,000 micrometers, for example, in a meter. And then nano, it's 1,000,000,000 nano, say grams, or whatever you're working with, in 1 gram. Okay, so those four you should try to be very familiar with and be able to work with easily. So let's look at a sample. So we're going to convert 3.8 kilometers into meters. So we just talked about how we could have two different conversion factors when going between kilometers and meters. So which one are we going to use? We're going to use the one that will cause the unit we don't want, which in this case is kilometers. We're trying to get rid of kilometers. So we want that to cancel out. So once we figure out the conversion factor, we're just going to multiply the number in the question by the conversion factor. So the question said 3.8 kilometers. The conversion factor we're going to use has 1,000 meters on top over 1 kilometer. So this cancels out the kilometers, and we're left with meters, 3,800 meters. Let's look at another sample. Convert 3.2 hours into minutes. So we need to know the relationship between hours and minutes, which hopefully most of you are familiar with, right? There are 60 minutes in an hour. So again, two possible conversion factors, one with hour on the top, one with hours on the bottom. The question gave us hours, 3.2 hours, so we want to get rid of that. So we're going to use that second conversion factor so that the hours cancel and we're left with minutes in the numerator. So when we do that, 3.2 times 60, we get 192 minutes. Sometimes you might need to use more than one conversion factor. And if you do need to do that, you multiply the conversion factors in a line. So here is an example question where you would need to use more than one conversion factor. So we want to convert 39,600 feet into kilometers. We don't have the direct relationship between feet and kilometers, but we do know that there are 3.3 feet in every 1 meter. And we also know a relationship between meters and kilometers. So by going through a couple steps, we can convert feet into kilometers. So you could start by making a plan, right? We're starting with feet. We need to get to kilometers, but we need a little intermediate in there where we first need to go to meters before we can go to kilometers. So we start with the number that's given in the question, 39,600 feet, and then we're going to convert that to meters. And so we set up our conversion factor so that feet is in the denominator, so 3.3 feet underneath 1 meter. And this will cancel out the feet. Now we need to convert from meters to kilometers. So we can use our meter-kilometer conversion factor, but flipped upside down from how we used it before. So the meters are going to cancel and we'll be left with kilometers, which is what the question was asking for. In the questions we've done so far, there's always been a 1 in the denominator, and the number that wasn't 1 was on the top of the fraction. So we multiplied. Now, when those different numbers are in the denominator, we need to divide. So we're going to do 39,600 divided by 3.3 and then divided by 1,000. And so that tells us that there are 12 kilometers. So 39,600 feet is the same as 12 kilometers. One final question. How many seconds are there in 16 years? So I don't know about you, but I don't know exactly how many seconds are in a year. I think it's a lot. So we're going to use some steps. So we start with years. We're trying to get to seconds. So use commonly known conversion factors. We know how many days are in a year. We know how many hours are in a day. We know how many minutes are in an hour. And we know how many seconds are in a minute. Okay, so this one's going to require a few more steps. So we'll start with the number in the question, 16 years. So first we're going to convert to days by multiplying by 365 days over 1 year. This cancels the years. Then we go to hours, 24 hours in 1 day. Days cancel. Then we go to minutes, 60 minutes in 1 hour. Hours cancel. And finally, we get to seconds, 60 seconds in 1 minute. So the minutes cancel. So here we can multiply. So we multiply 16 by 365 by 24 by 60 by 60, and we get that there are 504,576,000 seconds in 16 years. Okay, so that's how we can use unit conversion factors to convert between different units.